Hola clase, bienvenidos. Hoy vamos a hablar sobre los verbos reflexivos. Okay, so the topic today is reflexive verbs. Reflexive verbs describe actions that are done to or for oneself. For example here, lavar means to wash, as in to wash the dishes or to wash the car. Lavarse, on the other hand, means to wash something on yourself. So to wash your hair, to wash your face, to wash your hands. Okay? You can easily identify reflexive verbs in Spanish because they end in se in their infinitive form. So for example, you can tell lavar versus lavarse. Lavarse is your reflexive verb because it ends in se. Okay, so how do we conjugate a reflexive verb? We're first going to look at this in the present tense. Okay, to conjugate a reflexive verb, what you're going to do is take this se off and move it to the front. Okay, you will then make that se match the subject. Okay, so here under bañarse, you can see I took the se off, came to the front, and for the yo box, it's me. For the tu box, it's te. For the he, she, usted box, it's se. For the we box, it's nos, and for the they box, it's se. Okay, and then you conjugate the verb like normal. Okay, so you can see here for I take a bath, I bathe myself, me baño. You take a bath, te bañas. He or she takes a bath, se baña. We take a bath, nos bañamos, and they take a bath, se bañan. Okay, so just to reiterate something to you, the fact that the verb is reflexive does not change the verb's endings. Okay, the only difference is that there's a reflexive pronoun. Okay, so you can see here, bañar is conjugated in the present tense. And over here, bañarse is also conjugated in the present tense. The only difference is the reflexive verb will have a pronoun in front. Okay, let's see if you can conjugate a reflexive verb in the present tense on your own. On your note guide, you have this box for lavarse. Please pause me and conjugate lavarse in the present tense. Don't forget, you first need to take this se off and move it to the front. Make it match the subject. Okay, please pause me. All right, let's review. I wash myself, me lavo. You wash yourself, te lavas. He or she washes himself, se lava. We wash ourselves, nos lavamos. And they wash themselves, se lavan. Okay, now let's continue on with talking about reflexive verbs. We just conjugated reflexive verbs in the present tense. Okay? Our next topic is going to have to deal with using verbs back to back. So before I talk about that with reflexive verbs, let's review what it is that we already know when we have two verbs right next to each other. Our rule is that if there are two verbs back to back, the second verb will remain in the infinitive form. Let's look at this example. This says, I need to study. In English, I need is conjugated, but to study is not. The same is true in Spanish. Yo necesito estudiar. Okay, so again, that important rule is when you have two verbs back to back, second verb stays in the infinitive form. Okay, so what happens when we have a reflexive verb? Like, for example, if this said, I need to wash my hands, what would I do with lavarse las manos? Okay, here's your rule. The reflexive pronoun will match the subject of the sentence even if the verb is not conjugated. Okay, so look at these examples. I want to bathe. Me quiero bañar or quiero bañar me. You need to shave. Te necesitas afeitar or necesitas afeitar te. Okay, so in both of these examples, my reflexive verb was not conjugated. It was left in its infinitive form, but I have to change that reflexive pronoun to match the subject. Okay? While we're on this slide, just a quick reminder for you. When we did present tense with reflexive verbs, you had to put that reflexive pronoun in front of the verb. Okay, and your rule for that is when you have one conjugated verb, your pronoun goes in front. But here, you had two verbs back to back. So you had two verbs. That's why you have two correct answers, okay? Two correct choices when placing that pronoun, okay? It's option 1, putting it in front of the first verb, or option 2, attaching it to the second. Okay. You now have a practice section on your note guide. Look at the directions. It says complete the sentences with the correct infinitive form of the verb. Okay, so all 5 of these verbs are reflexive. Okay, so leave them in the infinitive form, but then change your reflexive pronoun so that it matches the subject of the sentence. So for example, I want to wash my hands. You're going to leave it as lavar, but lavarse is not correct. You need to change the se. Okay, please pause me, work through these 5 questions, and then we'll review. Okay, number 1, I want to wash my hands. Quiero lavarme. Me matches the subject yo. Number 2, my mom has to brush her teeth. Mi madre tiene que cepillarse los dientes. This one got to stay cepillarse, okay, because it matches my mom. That's in the he, she box. Number 3, my siblings should get ready. Mis hermanos debe arreglarse. Again, this one got to stay as se because se matches mis hermanos. Number 4, we're going to go to bed at 10 o'clock. Nosotros vamos a acostarnos a las 10. Okay, you changed acostarse to acostarnos. And 5thly, you plan to put on your clothing. Piensas ponerte la ropa. Okay, ponerte matches the 2. Okay, so what you learned today, when you have present tense reflexive verbs, you conjugate that verb like normal. Okay, except you take the se off, move it to the front, and make it match the subject. Secondly, you learned that when you leave a reflexive verb in the infinitive form, you still need to change that se so that it matches the subject. Okay, if you have any additional questions in your textbook, please see page 119 or write a comment down on your note guide. Okay, muchas gracias. Adios.